Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and I want to talk about the decline of ownership in general. I've made recent comments online, which most of my viewers will not know about, but I will tell you about them, regarding ownership and how even if you own a house, for example, you don't really own the house in a conventional sense because somebody else has access to it. It's permitted that you own a house, even if you own it outright. Now, I'm not even talking necessarily if you have a mortgage, but that too, especially that. Even if you own it outright, if it's something you inherited, if somebody can license your activity, your ownership, if you have to get a permit, figuratively or literally, they have a stake in that thing. And this is just logic. So if with one call, someone else can send their staff into your property, it's partly their property if there's no way you can defend that or resist that in a realistic way. So hold that thought, and we'll come back to that in just a second. I want to talk about just how things have changed in the last 50 years. I'm almost 50 years old, and I don't have, distinct memories from, being born, but I do actually remember most of my life. My earliest memory, as an aside, was when I was 1 year old swimming in a pool with my mother. And I have, an unbroken sequence of memories since then, and they inform me a great deal about how things have changed at this point. I want to talk about how, in the 80s and 90s, you were able to purchase music, physical media that had information on it, like such as music and then later software, movies, games. You used to be able to buy these things and own a physical copy of it that would run independently without any kind of, uh, back door that could allow it to be updated or turned off willy-nilly by some supervising authority, some distribution system that everything has now. It's all subscription based. We've transitioned away from owning physical copies of intellectual property to renting it. And this is a segue to the bigger idea that you're now renting everything. If you get a job, someone might tell you, they tell me all the time, get a job. Why don't you get a job? Um, what you're asking, actually, if we look at it, is get employment. That is, find employment for serving somebody else's purpose. Really, that's what it is. If you're going to be employed by another person or company, you are extending that person or company. By definition, you're renting a space, maybe a desk, maybe equipment or whatever the job entails, but it's their stuff, it's their space, their time. You're on their schedule. You're expected to follow their rules the whole time. And let's be honest, this is the whole point. It's been refined. The system, the expectation has been refined so that people are forced to do this. By and large, people are forced to rent a space so that exactly for the same reason as in games and movies and music, where they can flip a switch and turn off your access if they like. Okay, so when somebody has the ability to license, I'm going to repeat this again. Somebody can license or permit your activity, whether it's a job or playing a video game or watching a movie or listening to music. They have a stake in it now. They have a controlling influence. And this model has been rolled out ubiquitously across the board, especially and including real estate. You think you own land. You have the impression or the illusion that you have bought something on the best of days. Say you inherit money or land directly. You've inherited a great deal of land. Do you need an example? Look at the Native Americans. Have you heard of Leonard Peltier? Now, I'm not a Leonard Peltier activist. Just as an aside, on record, I'm not one of those people who's an extremist, but there's a famous story where these natives tried to defend the sovereignty of their land, and they were infiltrated by federal agents. They fought back, and Leonard Peltier was arrested and imprisoned for life because he defended what they believed and were told literally by the federal U.S. government that was sovereign, independent territory that had been reserved for them as a Native American reservation. They fought back, and this guy was the feds rolled in and said, no, we have to still be able to control everything. This is a model of what I'm talking about, where even if you own a house, even if you own acreage, doesn't matter how much, they have thousands of ways and reasons that they can invoke willy-nilly to just be there. And trust and believe it happens if they have any reason to want to be there. And this is what I'm talking about. So you can rent land, even if you own it. You're renting it from Big Brother. You're renting it from your boss, figuratively. And this is the point of this video. I mentioned something yesterday where I said you aren't owning that workspace if you are employed by somebody else. You don't own it. Your boss owns it. Even if you buy something, your boss owns that too. If your boss can send his staff in willy-nilly, if the boss can make one call and you're out, and trust me, that happens too. You don't believe it until you see it. But I'm living proof. You can be thrown out of your own house, charged with trespassing in your own literal house that you own with a deed. And I'm not kidding about this. This is where it's gone. So the end result, I'm not complaining. I'm saying the end result is a fundamental change of ownership where you don't actually have any ownership anymore. You co-own literally everything on the best of days with some supervising authority now in this country. That is a fact, is an absolute fact. So what is the final takeaway? What is the result of this? What does it do to society when people lack ownership? Well, if you examine the concept of ownership, have you heard of autonomy? Have you heard of agency, the ability to act? Well, what is that exactly? That's ownership of decisions is what it is. Agency is ownership of your choices and the consequences that come out of them, both good and bad. You make a choice, something comes out of it. You make another choice, something comes out of it. You end up on a path, figuratively, and that's your path. You own that. But if you're extending someone else at every turn, and they're just harvesting the good stuff and leaving the nasty stuff for you, well, that's a grift, isn't it? That's an exploit. It's an abuse. And that's what we have at hand here, to be honest. You have a ruling class of people who have refined this process of abuse to a science, using psychology, using information control, using economics, and the fact that you have no other choices but to get employment and rent a workspace, rent a tax cubicle where you can continue to pay towards something that you're never receiving. Have you that's another aside. I've just got tons of asides. Have you tried calling any government agency in the last 20 years? Have you tried actually availing their services? Have you tried have you tried writing your congressman? You're going to get a returned email is what's going to happen, because I have tried this. I've tried calling a government agency. I've tried emailing them. Usually it's you go in a circle or there's no phone number listed. And my point is that you're paying for something that you think you're getting and you're not getting. You're not even remotely getting it. Your taxes are going to two things right now. I mean, three things really. So Social Security is one of the last good things that your taxes are probably going towards, but it's almost completely dead. It's not working, never did work to begin with. But the 2/3 of the rest of your tax money is going towards the U.S. military, all the branches, and the U.S. debt. Interest being paid annually on the U.S. debt. All that stuff combined is just siphoning in a downward spiral, if you will, money out of your pocket. And if you see people working 100 hours a week and still not, they're still not even able to buy groceries. I'm not kidding. And it's because you are expected and forced into this model. So the last thing I'll say, there are elite people, economically elite people, living high on the hog right now, at the top of the ladder, just raking it in, not a care in the world. They've got their country clubs and their gigantic houses, and their kids are going to the best colleges, and they have every advantage, and they are living off of tax money. They're living off of your hard-earned tax money. And geez, I just feel like, if I'm going to be doing all that and contributing to it and participating in it, at least I could own a CD. At least we could, not attack every standard that reflects some kind of personal ownership. It's just adding insult to injury. You know what I mean? It's adding insult to injury. I'm going to be putting your kids through Ivy League school, and I still can't even buy a record and own it. I'm going to hear complaints about copyright infringement just because I bought the CD this time. All right, so we got big problems, big problems. How do we fix it? Final conclusion is UBI is the best starting point. UBI is Universal Basic Income, essential basic needs for businesses and individuals. That's subsidies. You get food, shelter, clothing, clean water, electricity, internet, reasonably good basic health care, education, provisions for retirement, and all free of charge, because there should not be any billionaires while anybody's without clean water in this world. There should not be any billionaires until every single person has pants on and good shoes and a roof over their head. And that's just basic logic. And if you don't agree with that, I'm not sure what to tell you. You're not civilized. The definition of civilization is you take your measurement at the bottom, not the top. You measure the quality of your society by the least advantaged, how their quality of life is, not how many yachts the guy at the top has. Okay. Hey, that's a great example. I'm super happy for him. How many ghettos did it take for him to buy all that stuff? Because we're creating ghettos and we're burning them down every day. You don't hear about it because it's not newsworthy, but believe it, I've seen it. So I'm sorry to end on that note. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. I hope all your Christmas shopping is done. I'm broke, so I didn't do any Christmas shopping, but I did reach out to some people I like and love, and I will keep them in my thoughts and my heart. And tomorrow's Christmas, so maybe I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll make something. You can always make gifts. That's fun. So anyway, reach out if you like with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.